Hello and welcome back again, Coffee Beans. This is Agricultural Structures and Building Constructions. Definition of terms. E&F. Earthen storage basin. An earthen structure usually with sloping sides and a flat floor. Constructed to store semi-solid slurry or liquid manure. Eave. Part of roof projecting beyond the face of the building sidewalls. Eave line. The intersection of the roof and the structure wall. Eave trough. Gutter along the edges of the roof to catch and carry away the roof runoff water. Effluent. The discharge of wastewater or other liquid. Treated or untreated. Egress. Passageway out of a building, that is, a fire exit door or a window, which could be easily opened to allow passage of people, animals, etc. In event of an emergency situation. Empty cell process. Pressure, vacuum process in which the air in the wood is maintained at or about atmospheric pressure before the injection of the preservative under pressure. Enclosed. Moving parts are so guarded that physical contact is precluded as long as the guard remains in place. Enclosed housing. House wherein inside conditions are maintained as near as possible of the bird's optimum requirements with the use of mechanical ventilation and artificial lighting. Enclosure. A guard that, alone or with other parts of the machine, provides protection on all sides. End coating. A coating of moisture-resistant material applied to the end grain surface to retard end drying of green wood or to reduce moisture changes in dried wood to a minimum. Endurance limit is the maximum stress that a member subjected to a completely reversal load can withstand for an infinite number of load applications without value. Entrainment. The mixing of ambient air with that exiting an air jet from an air inlet or distribution duct. Entrance head. Head required to establish flow into a conduit or structure. Entrance loss. Energy lost in eddies and friction at the inlet to a conduit or structure. Expansion joint. Joints in concrete walls and floors. Usually fitted with special metal telescoping fittings or compressible material. To prevent buckling of concrete when it expands in hot weather. Expansion point. Joints in concrete walls and floors. Usually fitted with special metal telescoping fittings or compressible material. To prevent buckling of concrete when it expands in hot weather. Exterior plywood. Type of plywood intended for outdoor or machine uses. Also known type 1. External ladder. A ladder attached to the outside of a structure. Extinction. The position at which a crystal goes black in cross-polarized light. Extinguisher. A portable device used to extinguish a fire. Face. Surface of plywood showing veneer of higher grade than that of the back side. Face plywood. Plywood faced with a material other than wood, such as metal or plastic. Face width. The width over toothed part of a gear. Measured along a straight line generator of the reference cylinder. Facultative aerobic organisms. Are organisms capable of growing under both aerobic and anaerobic conditions. Facultative bacteria. Bacteria which can use either free oxygen or reduced carbon compounds as electron acceptors in their metabolism. Facultative lagoons. Lagoons that can function as aerobic or anaerobic depending on the environment. Fan hood. Enclosure to protect a ventilation fan from weather, particularly direct wind and precipitation. Farmstead is a limited area within the farm, occupied by building corrals, fences, and gates, and used generally as center of operations for farm work and activities. Farrowing pen. An area in which a sow is confined during farrowing and lactation period, but in which the sow can turn around. Farrowing room. Space where sows are held during farrowing and lactation periods. Farrowing stall. A device in which a sow is confined during farrowing and lactation period and which prevent the sow from turning around. Feed bunks and fences. Cows are normally fed at permanent location in or near the free stall barn, either from one or both sides of a feed bunk or along a fence line. Feeder cattle refers to cattle past the calf stage that have weight increases making them saleable as feedlot replacements. Feeding alley height. The vertical distance from the reference point to the feeding alley or driveway for fence line bunks. Feeding auger. An auger which releases conveyed material. Feeding space refers to the lineal portion of the bunk available for single animals in bunks using vertical dividers or stanchions. Feeding stall. Individual stall in which animal stands when fed and an attempt is made to control individual diet intake. Feedlot. Area with its physical facilities used for cattle fattening. Fiberboard. Panel made of consolidated lingocellulosic fibers with a primary bond derived from their inherent adhesive properties and or the addition of the resin or other materials. Fiber. Cement flat sheets. Consist essentially of an inorganic hydraulic binder or a calcium silicate binder formed by the chemical reaction of a siliceous material and a calcareous material reinforced by organic fibers and or inorganic synthetic fibers. Fiber. Wood. A comparatively long, 1/25 or less to 1/3 inch. Narrow. Tapering and closed at both ends. Fine aggregates, such as crushed stone sand, crushed gravel sand or natural sand with particles passing on a 5 mm sieve. Fine material is a soil material in thin sections composed of particles less than 2 millimeters which are difficult or impossible to resolve with the petrological microscope. Firewall, a continuous wall constructed of a non-combustible material and designed to slow the rate of horizontal spread of fire. Flashboard, wood plank, generally held horizontally in vertical slots on the crest of a dam or check structure to control the upstream water level. Sometimes called as crest board. Flat roof, is used only to a limited extent on farm buildings. Maintenance is high since the roof has little slope for water to run off. Flat sod, lumber sawed in a plane approximately perpendicular to the radius of the log. Flattened, expanded metal, commercial metal product with diamond-shaped slots of a certain size, flattened to make surface lens abrasive, used as slotted flooring material. Flight of stairs, is a series of steps leading from one landing to another. Floating slab or raft foundation. It consists of a poured concrete floor in which the outer edges are thickened to 20 to 30 centimeters and reinforced. Floating type, plant consisting of digester and a moving, floating gas holder that either float directly in the fermenting slurry or in a separate water jacket. Float type water stage recorder, refers to the motion of a float that is recorded on a graph. Flocculation, in water and wastewater treatment, an operation which promotes the coalescence of suspended particles by increasing contact with each other for the purpose of removal by sedimentation. Floor drain, waste and or water outlet, located at the lowest point in a sloped paved floor. Floor feeding, feeding method in which feed is placed on floor for livestock consumption. Floor joist, is a structural member of a building that carries the wood flooring. Flue, a duct or passage for gas or air. Flush gutter, an open or covered gutter where livestock wastes collect and are flushed out periodically by a flow of water with adequate velocity to clean the gutter. Flushing system, a system that collects and transports or moves waste material with the use of water such as in washing of pens and flushing confinement livestock system. Foot bath, liquid container at floor level to wash or disinfect wheel or feet, humans or livestock, as they pass through it. Footing, the support for the foundation wall. Form, is a temporary boarding, sheathing or pan used to produce the desired shape and size of concrete. Foundation, the structural element between the building and the ground. Foundation insulation, insulation around the foundation of the barn which may be applied by the manufacturer prior to shipment or may be installed at the side. Frame wall, is a wall that is constructed as a frame of relatively small members, usually of timber, at close intervals which together with facing or sheeting on one or both sides from a load-bearing system. Free farrowing stall that allows the sow to enter or leave at will, but confines the pigs within the stall. Free stall, a dairy cattle free stall is a defined area in which a cow may lie down. Friction fit insulation, bat or blanket insulation with no paper backing, usually mineral fiber, held in place by friction against framing members. Front mounted, mounting of replaceable devices so that they may be individually replaced from the front of an enclosure without removing subpanels or numerous other devices. Gaining access to hidden nuts, or removing a rear enclosure cover. Front wired, mounting of replaceable devices so that they may be individually wired from the front of an enclosure without removing the device. Subpanels, or rear enclosure covers to gain access to electrical connections. Hope it helps. Thank you again for listening. Please like, subscribe and comment your suggestion on topics you want to hear. Links of previous topics are stated in the description box below. See you in the next part. Bye. Rar.